how have you stayed up to date on the relevant changes that happen in the digital marketing space?
So one of our core values here is passion. And we literally, we talk about our core values every single day. It's a daily thing. I could tell you how we do it. It's pretty cool. But if we don't have people that are passionate, they're not going to learn and they're not going to care to know what's going on. They're just going to do things the way they always are. But we stay up on all Google changes, updates, research. My total team will have a video call every week. And then they come on and go, hey, here's what we've learned. Here's the changes that we're seeing. Like, here's what's happening. Here's how AI is impacting us. Here's how Google's going to be changing in the next year. And what that means for us, good or bad. So really, it's held to the team to constantly be out there learning. And then I just soak up what I can when I'm, interviewing smart people.
Welcome to Harry Handles It, a podcast where we dive into the world of personal growth, success strategies, and everything in between. I'm your host, Kevin Daisey, and today we're going to chat with an incredible guest who has some amazing insights to share. Remember, no matter what life throws your way, I'm here to help you handle it. So let's get started.
Good morning, Kevin. My name is Harry. Welcome to the Harry Handles It podcast. You are an entrepreneur, a digital marketer, a real estate investor, a podcaster, and an adventurer. That sounds pretty awesome.
That does sound kind of awesome, doesn't it? There's some nuance to that, I'm sure, but that sounds better when you say it like that.
Well, tell us what you do.
Sure. Well, Harry, I appreciate you having me on the show, and just got to look into you and your firm, and just again excited to be here and share. So, well, what I do mostly in my day to day is I run a digital marketing agency that we work with law firms around the country. So that's our main line of business is doing SEO, content, websites for law firms. Kind of like your firm, PI, divorce, criminal defense. We have clients all over the country. So, trying to be, really dialed in with the industry, what makes a law firm tick, what puts money in their pockets, how they help clients. So that's my day to day, is really being the face of that company. I actually have two other agencies as well. We're about 50 employees full time, and podcasting is a big part of kind of our brand and how we kind of get into those markets. And it's been a great part of our success, I guess, if you will.
So can you tell us what inspired you to create Array Digital, specifically focusing on marketing for law firms?
Well, it didn't start that way. I started when I was 23 in a short-lived corporate career. I jumped out and started my own website company, making websites for local businesses, anything you'd imagine. But I did have some lawyers as clients pretty early on. And happy to say that one of those lawyers is a client of mine today, back from like 2009 or something like that. So again, we didn't really try to go that direction, but over time, we know we needed to focus. We know we needed a niche. And so after about 2017, 2018, we started saying, okay, we need to really focus if we're going to grow. And so we went back and forth. There's a lot of debate, and we chose lawyers. God, why do we do that? But it's worked out very well. So
We must be pretty easy to work with.
Yeah, lawyers are great, man. They're awesome. No, it's really COVID had hit actually when we made the decision. COVID. So we're looking at industries that are stable, industries that we can grow in. We looked at market size, and we looked at our clients too, and then we just made a call. And so I don't know how scientific it was, but it was, hey, we're going to go in the legal space, which is like the hardest place to go in marketing is for lawyers. So not the easiest.
Why do you feel that way? I'm curious. As an entrepreneur, a firm owner, a trial lawyer myself, I couldn't agree with you more, but I want you to share why you feel that way.
Yeah, well, it's just it's a very competitive market. So if what actual city are you in?
We're in Studio City, Los Angeles.
Yeah, so
one of the biggest metropolitan ones.
I knew you were near there. So how many PI firms are in Los Angeles that are spending hundreds of thousands a month, millions per month, radio, billboards, everything you can imagine, right? So it's just they've been at it a long time. They've been putting money into what we do for law firms for many, many years, decades. And so if you're a smaller, newer firm, it's quite difficult, depending on where you are location wise, to get an edge. And so that's one piece of it. It's just very difficult to enter in to that market. And as you're starting out, you don't have John, Morgan & Morgan is not your client as a new marketing agency. It's like you're really starting from you're starting from small clients that will give you a shot and prove yourself. And so that's the main thing. And then of course, as a lawyer, you're looking for results. You're tracking your metrics and numbers, and you have sometimes a short amount of time to prove your worth.
Having worked with a number of digital marketing agencies, key metrics are a big topic that's brought up. Can you tell us what your favorite key metrics are for lawyers to keep track of to figure out if their marketing is working for them?
Absolutely. Well, I'll kind of stay in my lane, which is SEO, organic, high intent, low funnel type stuff. I don't do radio. I don't do TV. I don't do social media. So everything we do is like either paid ads, search, all search related for the most part. So with the metrics that we're looking for, I mean, at the end of the day, if we can, I want to know, cost per motor vehicle accident sign up, right? So all the way down to like, what does it cost for you to sign up an accident case? And then of course from there you're looking at what's your average case. Like, are we getting quality, or is it, looking at that because, if your average case drops, is the lead sources we're bringing in not really what you want? How does it align with the firm? What your goals are? What kind of cases you're looking for? So ultimately, that's kind of stuff that you want to get access to. Unfortunately, a lot of law firms don't have the ability to give us that information. So if we have to back it up a little bit, it's okay. What's cost per conversion, cost per lead across each source, right? Which of the marketing channels, whether it's Google Business Profile, LSA, Google Ads, organic, and really having those separated. A lot of firms will be like, yeah, organic is getting all this. Okay, well, where? Content, high intent, low intent? Is it from your Google Business Profile? What's contributing to this? And then tracking all those and seeing like what's your cost per conversion, cost per lead. Then you can back it up from clicks and all that stuff. But I don't like vanity metrics. I don't like bull crap like impressions or clicks, or who cares?
Yeah, because that's not making the phone ring.
It doesn't help you if your phone's not ringing. And then you want to look at, say we have a ton of leads. This happens sometimes, but your sales rate, you're 10%. Like, you're only closing 10%. Is it a problem with the leads, or is it an intake problem? Is it a client experience problem? And then start to dig into that and say, what's like, we're doing our part, or maybe we're sending you shitty leads. I don't know. So, what can we learn from that?
On that note, what's a successful close rate? I mean, you mentioned 10%, but what is optimal that you want to see from your clients?
90%, 95%. That's a bold statement. Probably, I don't know if you know Luis Scott. It's a friend of mine. He'll get on stage and say 95%. And, I have a client that was telling me 10%. And then I just had a client talk to the other day that's around 80, 90%.
Well, let's define this. When we're talking about these percentages, are we talking about it's a qualified lead and we were able to sell and have them sign a retainer?
Yes, exactly.
Got it.
Yep, qualified lead. If it's just, not all leads, not bogus leads, it's a qualified lead signed up for, to be a case. So, and of course, you can vary on what kind of law firm. I work with estate planning firms, divorce firms. Some have retainers, or some have upfront costs. I mean, there's lots of different variables there, of course. This is mainly across, PI, I would say. But I don't know, what have you heard and seen from, colleagues and stuff like that? Because a lot of people say that's insane. But the ones preaching, hey, this is where you need to be, that they're pretty bold. So
I mean, I agree with you that the percentage should be as close to 100% as possible. But that's in a perfect world. And as a law firm owner of ourselves, I mean, we've gone through all of those growing pains. We've had a digital marketing network, we've had our marketing work, and then we'd had a problem picking up the phone, and we had a problem with how we pick up the phone. And these are just kind of the growing pains you go through to be able to increase those metrics and get more signed cases.
yeah, 100%. I think, my podcast, the Managing Partners podcast, I mean, that's what the whole show's about. Like business. I mean, it's all about law firm business per se, but you could take law firm out and insert anything. It's all the growing pains: leadership, hiring, processes, intake, client experience. And you're going to have problems just cycle through all those areas constantly as you grow, unless you want to be stagnant and then you got other problems. But yeah.
I was just having a conversation with our leadership team literally yesterday, when we were identifying bottlenecks in some of the production lines and the processes, and they look at me like, "Oh my God, we just discovered one thing after another." And I say, "This is a gift. This is how the process is supposed to work, so that we can keep continuing to grow. We've got to discover the bottlenecks, solve them, and provide a better experience for everybody."
100%. I think that's hard to kind of get used to, and especially when you start a business, you want everything to be perfect. And sometimes you kind of feel like you're like, man, we're just in the zone, but you can't stay there too. Like you got to find problems. Like you wanted to discover problems and try to get excited about as much as you can. It's not, a lot of them are not very fun problems to have. And they can be stressful and whatever, but that's what we signed up for. Right.
That is the life of an entrepreneur, especially in the personal injury space. If you're trying cases, I mean, risk is second nature, just like drinking water. It just comes with the territory.
Yeah, and there's so much on the line for you all. I mean, for one, when I started going, I'm going to market for law firms, my perspective towards lawyers and all the friends I have that are lawyers and how like amazing people they are and how they're helping so many people, versus maybe what the general public may think. But I just see so much good out there. But you guys are literally like if you don't run a good business or a good firm and you have all these cases, files, right? You're risking all of those folks' potential, their life, their income, their everything. So medical bills. And so if you fail or, drop the ball or whatever, there's a lot on the line.
Yeah. I mean, from my perspective, trying to provide a good service to the community, that's those lawyers that operate that way provide the worst type of stereotype that consumers cling on to. And I hope if consumers are listening to this, that there are different options out there of firms who care, who want to provide a better service to you, and who can actually provide quality legal services without the disappointment that we just mentioned.
Yeah, and which means working on communication with your clients, always improving. How do I make this better for the client? I was talking on a podcast the other day. It's like, I've never hired a personal injury lawyer yet. Hopefully, I don't.
Good.
I know a lot of them, but I would be like, oh, who do I call? I know too many of them. So
easy answer there.
I'm calling Harry because Harry's going to handle it. So
that's right.
So people are. So I've never hired one. So, say I don't even have anything to I don't know as much as I know about the law. Well, I'm not comparing you to another law firm. I'm comparing you to literally. I just got this delivered before you got here. This is Jimmy John's. I'm hired. In today's world, you're Jimmy John's or Domino's, where I got an app tracker, and I'm like, where's my stuff? Like, where's my file? What's going on? And so, people these days are expecting a lot more than most law firms are equipped to even handle. Like, you don't even hear back. You don't know what's going on. Like, it's just, we got to get up to speed on those things.
Definitely. And on this topic, do you have a moment that you attribute in your entrepreneurial path that was transformative for your company or the direction that your entrepreneurial ventures took?
For sure. Yeah, for sure. I think the main one was, I always have been like, I got to take care of clients. We're doing the best work. And when we were smaller, just focused on our local market. I had construction companies and lawyers and you name it, just kind of a hodgepodge. We just helping local people. And I didn't know how to run a business though, right? So I was just doing the work, and just like a lawyer would start. They're the technician, they're the one doing the legal work. And then at some point you go, you know what, I don't know what I'm doing. I got to learn this stuff. And so for me, I was a project-based business, and every month was like, I got to go sell more stuff. I got 6 or 7 employees, and it's just like a struggle. Just like, I'm not growing. My revenue last year was about the same. And then things suffer, like client communication, timelines. Like, you're just like in it, you know what I mean? And so a lot of lawyers obviously are out there like that. They're just grind till they're like 70 years old, and most of their clients are probably not very happy. And so I had a moment where I went out and ventured out and got with other business owners, mastermind groups, and just listened. And it's like, you know what? I got to reset. We got to focus, and we had a niche. And that's kind of where we got into the legal niche. We got to understand our client. And so I can't do that if we're working with 10,000 different industries. And so that changed my business pretty rapidly. And we went over $1 million, and then we went to 2 million, and then, and so on. So, the answers are there. You just got to listen to people.
That's right. And sometimes that's the hardest part. You got to get out of your own way.
As entrepreneurs, even at 23, you think you know everything, and you don't.
Every year I think I know everything, and then every other year I think what an idiot I was last year. Yeah.
Yeah. So now you can just maybe prepare for that, right? Like, man, we're crushing it. You know what? I'm going to think I'm an idiot next year. So let's just move on.
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, on this subject, what are some of the most common mistakes you've seen legal professionals make in their digital marketing endeavors?
Ooh, that's a good one. One, okay, let's go with a couple. So right now, I'll go with some recent ones. Using AI content for your SEO, like straight up, not even like.
That's an immediate red flag for the Google gods, right?
Oh man, terrible. And I've seen this a lot lately, like, because an agency, you can cut corners. Oh crap, we'll just pump content out. You got law, you got ABA, you have all these other things that they're not even considering that. They're just thinking about pump the content. Google gives us the rank and we get clients. What if they were to read the content? I had a divorce attorney in Chicago, and he was like, our brand is the best thing ever. And he does have an awesome brand. And he's a great guy. He's a client, if he's listening. And he was just so stoked about his brand and how they're different, and like they're a kind of a modern, divorce firm in Chicago and all this stuff. And I said, hey, have you ever read your blogs that go out every week? He's like, no. I was like, so you got all this, you say all these things, and you're positioning yourselves, and you're high end divorce, and then read your content. He's like, oh shit, I never thought about that. And so it's generated by AI. It's just word vomit on a page with bullet points, and just you wouldn't hire them if you read that. And so you're driving people to read it, hoping you can get them in the funnel and convince them to work with you. And so it's just, sometimes it's a mind shift of different ways to think about it. But SEO is no longer it's not gaming the system. It's literally doing things the right way and checking everything, dotting the I's, crossing the T's.
Just like I'm discovering, it's the best way to do almost anything now. Just the old-fashioned way: cross your T's, dot your I's, do a good job, and good things will come.
And a lot of lawyers would tell you, like, how'd you become successful? We did really good work, and we got referrals, and that's how we built this whole empire. And it's, because that's how they did it. And let's go back to that. That's exactly what you need to do. And And so, so for one, I see that a lot, obviously. And then one, another big one, like, don't try to be something you're not. Like, hey, I ride Harleys too. I'm your motorcycle attorney. And then you're like, that guy doesn't ride motorcycles.
He doesn't know how to ride a bicycle.
Yeah, exactly. Like, just lean into whatever is, you got to be authentic, and just put that out there. Not everyone's going to like you, but that's cool. The people that do, they'll come to you. If I were to pull up 3 personal injury sites right now, which most consumers might do, just because you're number 1 on Google doesn't mean they might not choose number 4. And so there's another thing. Like, well, how can I, I can't compete, or like, say I had 2 clients in the same market. There's so many variables. It's insane. Like, you're not necessarily, you're first and you're second and you're first. And like, it's just not how it works. But there's always other variables: brand, connection. One firm might be open and connect with people through video and pictures of them and their staff. And the other one's more of a rigid kind of modern brand. So you might choose a firm based on that. So there's so many things that you have to consider. Yeah. And another one I would say is not having video and a personable website and connecting with the prospect that might hit your site.
Well, this is a on the spot question, but did you check out our website, and how do you feel about our videos?
I did check it out a little bit. It looks clean. I like the colors. You have video. I saw you did have like a podcast, your first podcast or 2 that Will was mentioning. So no, it looks good. I didn't look under the hood. I didn't look at your traffic. I will. But
I would expect it no less.
Oh yeah, well, I'll take a look. But yeah, I didn't really get into the weeds of it, but no, it looks like you guys are doing well. Your traffic looks high. I just looked at my basic tools. So no, you have your team, you have photos, you have video. Those are some of the basics. As far as getting into, like, is it the right video or is it the right message? That's a deeper conversation.
That's the next level.
That's next level. But just attorneys, if you're listening, do those things, man. I mean, get in front of the camera. Hire Will and his crew that is doing this podcast.
Yeah.
Do your own podcast. Like, that's a huge thing. Like what Harry's doing, to connect with people, and you also get the video from this. There's just a lot of good things there.
Yeah, I think we've touched on some of them, but what are some technological tools that you've used that you found to be a game-changing addition to your tool set?
Let's see. Well, as far as like SEO and stuff like that, for us, we use Ahrefs, where I can pull up reports, traffic, and stuff, and we use it for ourselves. I use it for myself on a daily basis to check what my team's doing and things like that. But I can really see, like, trends. I can see where my traffic's coming from, like what keywords they're searching, and then we can make adjustments. Are we attracting the wrong people? You could have a spike in traffic. I actually had a client that had, like, almost all their traffic was from one blog that had nothing to do with anything they do. And it's just fake. It's fake. And so, you really want to analyze, okay, well, what is the traffic? Where is it coming from? Is it
So you might be getting a lot of traffic, but it's useless traffic for your business.
Useless traffic. I had an agency that was working with a client of mine prior, and they weren't getting any traffic results, so they just wrote a blog on spring training baseball in Florida. And traffic's going up, looks great. And who's hiring a property damage attorney with this guy when they're searching for spring training baseball in Florida? Like, so it's just that doesn't do anything for you. That actually tells Google that you're something you're not.
That's actually a good thing to watch out for if there are firm owners out here with other digital marketing agencies, just to follow up. And that's a good tidbit of information to find out where your traffic is coming from, to see if your marketing efforts are actually useful.
Yeah. Another thing, and there's a lot of tools, SEMrush or SEMrush, people call it. And I'm talking from tools that I'm familiar with, is brand search. So, Harry, if you're doing like radio, TV, billboards, are you getting a lift in brand search? you should. That means they search for you by name or your firm by name, and you can bucket that and say, all right, we had 1,000 people search this last month. We just dumped $100,000 into TV and radio. What does that look like over the next few months? Are we getting anything? It's still hard to track a conversion from radio or TV necessarily, but you should see a brand lift, and then that gives you a better idea of like some of those offline efforts that you're doing.
Have you worked with firms who didn't advertise in the traditional radio billboard space that were online? They added the traditional element, and did you see what kind of uptake they got in their brand searches?
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah. We definitely had that. I mean, I work right now. We're with firms that do everything, and they got some that were only traditional for a long time, and then, so that's a good question. I'm trying to think where I've seen like a significant increase for the brand lift. I don't know. I don't have anything off the top of my head.
Yeah, it was a very specific and very curious question, and selfish one on my part, just to see
No, that's a good question.
if there's an expectation or what some other firms' data shows that we spent X amount of money on traditional and we got Y amount of brand lift.
No. I mean, it's something that my team probably knows. I don't know. I don't go look at my team stuff, but they would probably know. And here's the other thing: like we only do digital, but we want to know anything new you're doing outside of what we do. We also recommend it. Like you should be doing all these things. SEO, where that's kind of a cornerstone for us. It's not all we do, but everything is SEO. So if you're on radio or on this podcast or on my podcast, content that gets online, YouTube, LinkedIn, all that's indexable and searchable. News mentions, local stories, the news, all of that is SEO. It all boils down to it. So it's not stuff that maybe we do for you, but things the firm should be doing to increase your SEO footprint. Digital PR, press releases, links to from local news stations. It all is SEO and it all has an impact. So then Google can see all that stuff. How often they talked about.
And certainly the landscape has changed since you started your digital marketing ad agency. How have you stayed up to date on the relevant changes that happen in the digital marketing space?
That's a good one. So my team is really responsible, depending on what department they're in. And so what we do is my head of my team's like my head of SEO, Wyatt, who's genius. These guys, so one of our core values here is passion. And we literally, we talk about our core values every single day. It's a daily thing. I could tell you how we do it. It's pretty cool. But if we don't have people that are passionate, they're not going to learn and they're not going to care to know what's going on. They're just going to do things the way they always are. But my team needs to be learning. And so we want updates from them constantly. I want to be sharing those things like on my LinkedIn. Hey, did you guys know this? This just happened. Google just made this change. So we stay up on all Google changes, updates, research, and then I'll have team members give like my total team will have a video call every week. And then they come on and go, hey, here's what we learned. Here's the changes that we're seeing. And even like admin staff, they're hearing all this stuff. Like, here's what's happening. Here's how AI is impacting us. Here's how Google's going to be changing in the next year. And what that means for us, good or bad, and how are we going to pivot? So really, it's held to the team to constantly be out there learning, and then I just soak up what I can when I'm, interviewing smart people.
And you mentioned this before, and I'm curious how you incorporate it into your business. But how do you keep the core values top of mind on a daily basis?
Ooh, I love that one. So most companies, core values was a huge pivot for us. When you mentioned like what was a big breakthrough kind of moment, was actually taking them serious, because I thought they were always just like this fluffy kind of whatever thing, right? And so we took it serious and we set our core values and we changed them a few times over the years. They've been pretty concrete at this point. We have Slack that we use. Slack is like a messaging app for teams. And we put our core values as hashtags, and we built a Zapier program with a spreadsheet. And so I could say plus 10 points to Harry. for helping me with this problem that we had, blah, blah, blah. And then I hashtag what core values that you exemplified. And so it might be like passion, quality, urgency, transparency, winning. That's our core values. And so every single day in my Slack channel, which I have right to my side here, there's already, a half a dozen team
Nice.
points. And so you can do from 1 point to 10 points per time. And then everyone on the whole team sees that. And everyone makes emojis and all that stuff. All those kudos points every month go into a spreadsheet. A winner gets cash bonused and gets announced at the company monthly meeting. And then through my 3 companies, they're all separate. We take the core value winner for each core value, and they get announced at the major company meeting, and they get like these glass blown awards sent to them because most of my staff is remote, and it's a big deal. And so
That's a great way to elevate the team.
And so we were using core values every single day. And then we actually go, every company meeting, we go through one and read it and have someone read it. And the next meeting, we go through another one. And so we beat it to death, to be honest with you. But it's a lot of fun.
I think that's what you need. We recently pivoted towards that too. And I'm finding that we don't, pivot and hit it on the head as often as we should. And this is a good reminder for us to really do that again.
To think your staff knows what your mission and vision and core values are, as you as the owner, the entrepreneur, it, you believe it, you're in. They need to be reminded. Why are they there? Why should they be passionate about your dreams? And so I think every employee I have could tell you my core values right now, like without a doubt. They probably couldn't read off my mission or my vision, but the core values. And here's the cool thing about the way we do it with that is the rewards they're receiving from their peers is way more important than the cash bonus or the awards. They're voted, and I can't get points. My business partner can't get points. I give a lot of points, but we can't win. So it's, hey, my employees, my team, they voted me to be here for this. So
It's awesome.
And then we also use in our annual reviews. We can take all of that spreadsheet data and go, hey, you got tons of, recognition for quality or hey, you've never really, been recognized much for urgency. And we've seen that, maybe you're not as urgent as we'd like you to be. So we use it in our annual reviews as well.
It's a good idea.
I'll give you that one for free.
I mean, we mentioned earlier when, or at least as I was introducing you on the podcast, that you were a real estate investor. How has that helped or shaped how you run your digital marketing agency?
Well, yeah. I mean, it sounds like I'm bigger than I am. Me and my wife, we own a few Airbnb properties. So we just purchased another one in September, and that's already on the market and doing pretty well. So we're continuing to do that, but it's kind of like my wife works for an employer. I've always been an entrepreneur. It's really give us something to do business-wise together. So it's like we treat it as a business. We talk about it at night. We look at the numbers. So that's been really cool to just do. Plus, I knew I wanted to do it in real estate anyway. As far as on the digital marketing side, we actually, some of the houses that I had or places that we have in a mountain area, we're like, hey, let's put some SEO and website to work. So we built a website, SEO, articles for the area, the region, and then our houses are featured as the places to stay, the accommodations. So that's been pretty cool to see the traffic come in and people are using our articles for winery trips and all kinds of stuff. So it's we're like, hey, let's put a little bit of our skills to the test and see how this works.
That's clever. SEO, digital marketing isn't only for law firms. It's for every business. Actually,
the funny thing is I was always like, man, why do we have hire law firms hire us and tell us what to do? We can just do our own SEO to do anything we want. So, it's like at some point I want to have some my own products or services, but
Yeah.
but no, it can be powerful for sure. But outside of that, I try to keep it somewhat separate. My team knows about it all, and but I try to not try to make it mess with my day too much. So
Yeah. And as an adventurer, what kinds of things are you most into?
So I grew up in a really small town, as an island actually, off the coast of Virginia, and so I just grew up, around boats and surfing, and so I've been surfing since I was little. So I still like to go surf wherever I can go. Snowboarding. So I got a snowboard trip, and I'll be in Breckenridge with the family in January, West Virginia in February, and then of course one of our houses that we own is at a mountain ski resort. So I'll be going there over the new year. Backpacking, hiking, camping, fishing. I got a fishing boat. Um, so when I'm out in the office in a polo doing technology stuff, like I really like to be outside, fire pits, grilling out. So not all of it's super adventurous, but I'm trying to layer more of that on as I can. So
You're a man of the great outdoors. I love it.
yeah, and I like building stuff, woodworking, so I like to build and do some hard labor too. Like that's like a escape for me because again, I'm on video calls all day. I'm doing, technical stuff all day. That for me is like a switch, which I get home, I throw on an old shirt and some old stuff and go outside and cut some wood up or, build a fence. Like I like doing that stuff.
It's a good disconnect.
Yeah. And sometimes I go, hey, why you should hire someone to do that. What are you doing? And I do, but there's some things I'm like, I just want to do it. I want to figure that out. Like I like building stuff and accomplishing a project sometimes is just good to do.
It feels good. I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. Well, that's how we're wired as humans, I think, it's, you can be happy just getting little things done. And that's what we're constantly desire to get something completed. So,
Yeah. This this being the Harry Handles It podcast, now is the time to see if there is any issue or something that we can discuss where I can give you perspective on how Harry would handle it.
Okay. I like that. Let's see. I'll give you one that's interesting. Are you familiar with like the automated cars and like Phoenix and stuff like that?
Yeah.
And so it was a car accident that was like two cars had hit and like they were kind of blown away from each other a little bit, but wreckage everywhere. And one of the automated cars just comes through and like just pushes itself through in the middle of like people are hurt and stuff and like watching it. Like it just kind of like goes through the middle of the accident and then carries on its way. It's like, that was crazy. Obviously didn't cause the accident, but I was like, what would a personal injury attorney think about how that could be a problem in the future?
That's interesting, and that could be a big problem. I mean, what if the people were pretty injured inside and the car didn't maneuver the right way, hit the other car, made injuries worse? I mean, the technology is evolving and will need to be fixed. But those types of situations, the tech obviously hasn't learned. And you seeing that firsthand is kind of wild to see that the decision it made just to go through all the debris and rubble while the other cars probably manned by a human are all stopped trying to see what's happening.
Yeah, they were like, kind of yelling, but I mean, obviously the car's not listening to them. But yeah, I
There's
mean,
nobody in the car.
the person could have been thrown out and laying on the ground, So I just was interested to see what my PI friends would think. And that was just this morning I saw it. It was on social media, but I was like, wow, that's the future for PI, right? With self-driving cars and automation and all that stuff. Like, where does that go for you guys? And I think it's a ways out based on what I saw of it taking over. So,
In any event, in one of those situations, Harry would definitely handle it. We'd go after the company and everybody responsible for making the roadway more unsafe than it already was.
I believe Harry would handle it all the way through. That's what I'd call.
Well, thank you, Kevin Daisey. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for being on the podcast and spending your time.
Hey, Harry, appreciate it. It's been awesome getting to know you, and I appreciate the interview. So,
And tell our listeners where they can find you and how they can get in touch.
sure. You can check out the Managing Partners podcast if you want to know more about building businesses and entrepreneurship. I have guests like Harry on all the time to talk about really cool stuff, leadership, all those things. And but if not, you can look me up on LinkedIn or Instagram or Facebook. Kevin Daisey, that's Daisey. I have my real name everywhere. So just look me up there, or my company is Array Digital, arraydigital.com, and check out what we're all about. And got any questions, let me know. I'm happy to help.
Thanks for your time.
Thanks for joining us today on Harry Handles It. I hope you enjoyed our conversation and found some valuable takeaways. If you're facing challenges in your own life or business, remember that you're not alone. Together, we can handle anything that comes our way. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review if you liked what you heard. Until next time, keep pushing forward and handling life with confidence.